Hi, welcome to Straight Talk. You know, our goal here is to educate you about addiction, educate you about services, about the disease of addiction and recovery. And so today we've got a really special show because we always say two things about addiction. We say, well, it's a family disease, and we also say it doesn't discriminate. Well, today on Straight Talk, we're going to see both of those in action. And we're going to hear from a family who's kind of been through it all and have come out the other end. That's the good news. So joining me is Alex Whiteley, and we'll be meeting your parents soon to hear the whole family story. But welcome.
Thank you.
And we want to hear a little bit about your story, about your experience with alcohol and drugs and when you got started, and so that people out there know that it can happen to any family. And yours is a great family, yet it happened there too. So it's not about the parents, it's about what's happening out there. So Alex, tell us a little bit about your story.
So I started drinking at a young age. I probably had my first drink around age 12. It didn't take off until I got into high school. I got into high school, I was an athlete, and I loved the party life. I just wanted to party. I ended up getting kicked off the swim team because I couldn't pull my grades up. I started skipping school. I learned it was really easy to skip class. And I started smoking weed, drinking during the day. My grades dropped very fast. I was failing, and my parents actually pulled me out and sent me to boarding school, which I was not thrilled about. So I ended up going to this all-girls boarding school in Baltimore, and things were okay for a little bit, and then I ended up getting thrown out of there for having alcohol in my dorm fridge. So I would say when I was in boarding school, though, my addiction was probably at a hold because I wasn't really able to get my hands on it that much. But so from there, I went to another boarding school in Virginia, and I made it to my senior year, and then I was thrown out for having weed. And so I went back to Annapolis. I decided, okay, I'll just go to community college for like a couple years, and then I'll go to normal college because that was always the goal. And it spiraled fast from there. I caught my first charges when I was 19, and my first DUI, I flipped my car off a bridge, and I'm lucky to be alive. And I went into treatment for the first time. And then again, got out of treatment, and it got worse again. I got introduced to cocaine, and that became a constant. It was always cocaine and alcohol. And in 2018, I got my second DUI, went to treatment again, and again, it didn't work. I just kept going back out, wanted to test the waters, didn't think that I had a problem. I was very in denial. I thought I was too young to have addiction. I knew it ran in my family, but I just didn't. But went into a recovery house, got through court, started using again, it got worse, and eventually it caught up to me pretty bad, and stopped.
It's an amazing story to be so young and to move up that ladder that way. Were you aware of what you were doing, or was it just, I just want to party and I'm not worried about the consequences, I'm just going to have a good time?
I think I was aware. I think I realized when I was 19 and when I had to sit in treatment, I started to become aware that I had a problem, but I didn't want to admit it because I was so young. And everyone else that I was hanging out with, they could go out and they could do drugs and they could drink, but they never got arrested. And so I just was so in denial for such a long time. But I was aware, and then it just became like, the feelings inside of me, I just like wanted to cover them up, so I kept doing it.
And then when you finally went to treatment, the third time, something like that. Do you have any idea what made that one work?
So it actually wasn't treatment. Treatment has always set me up with like a foundation of good people, and like it's because I start going to meetings and I'll meet these people, but it was never treatment that worked. It was like I had to like want it for myself, because I would go into treatment for charges. My lawyer's like, you need to go to treatment, you're facing a lot of jail time, so I would go, but I wasn't registering anything in there. So I had to go back out and find out for myself that I can't handle it like I thought that I could.
And then once you did, that made the difference?
Yeah. I just tested it so many times. I was so in denial. Let me go do it again. Let me go do it again. Things just kept getting worse, like the fights, the everything. So.
And you almost died. You could have killed yourself in those car crashes.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know that. But then now you're doing cocaine and you're doing weed. So you
Anything
start with
I can
alcohol and anything you get your
my
hands on. Now, how long you been clean?
I have 8 months clean and some
months.
change.
How's that feel?
Amazing.
To feel different than the other times?
Yes, because I really want it for myself. I'm happy with my life. You know, I have peace of mind today. I was just, I wasn't happy. I was like a broken person. And I'm very happy today.
And you made that difference. And what do you do now for yourself? I know you're working at a treatment center.
Yes. I work at Amadeus, and just doing everything I can, working a strong program, and love helping other people get into treatment, just stuff like that. Very happy.
Do you find yourself, like meeting with people or people saying, well, how did you do it? How did you get clean?
Yes, a lot of times, like even when I go to meetings, treatment centers will bring meetings in and clients that are in treatment, like people that are younger than me. And a lot of times they'll ask me, they're like, you're so young, how much clean time do you have? And I'll talk to them and tell them like my experience with it, and I think it helps.
I mean, when you look around and you see what's going on with kids, all over the place.
It's
I mean,
everywhere.
It's everywhere. And just what you were doing, alcohol, weed, and cocaine. And I mean, what would you say to a 15-year-old now?
So the thing that's hard is I feel like at that age, people always tell you don't do drugs, don't drink, but like you're not going to listen. I feel like it's being able to identify with them and kind of like share with them where I've been. Because if you think about it, like when I was younger, nobody ever came into like a school and like shared their drug addiction and said how they got out of it. Like I would have loved if someone like an addict, like a drug addict, came in and shared where it took them and like how they got out of it, because so many people have no idea.
Right.
They have no idea the signs to look out for.
Is that something you might want to do?
I would love to.
I mean, you just told your story, and it was amazing to hear, and I'm sure people, when they hear that, will identify, and
Right.
and
Just
maybe
to be
that'll
able to
be something
identify.
that'll spark them. All right. Well, we're going to have you stay here,
Okay.
and we're going to bring your parents in.
Okay.
Because this is a family disease, right?
It is.
We'll get their perspective on
Okay.
everything. We're talking about addiction. It doesn't discriminate. It happens to families. It happens to good families, bad families. It happens everywhere. And what we're learning today is what you can do about it. It's a hard thing to break. But as we heard with Alex, she did it, and she's on the right road now. So stay with us. We're going to come right back to Straight Talk and continue our conversation.
I just need a second.
Is your weight holding you back? Are everyday tasks getting harder and harder to do?
Did you see this? Your cousin's in the hospital from a heart attack.
Really?
Health risks associated with excess weight or obesity can be serious. But you can do something about it.
I know you're worried. I found this.
Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. Visit yourweightmatters.org, where you'll find free resources to help you take control. You can start improving your life right away. Download the free toolkit to prepare you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight and health. Your weight does matter. Accept the challenge and take charge today. Visit yourweightmatters.org.
I had big plans. I had my career path all planned out. While I was on a combat patrol in Bakuba, Iraq, a rocket-propelled grenade took my arm off at the shoulder. When I came home, I felt alone. My family was around me, but I couldn't talk to them about what I'd seen and what I'd done. I remember just thinking, man, the way I am right now, I don't want to live. I was discharged from the Army, and I've been working with the Wounded Warrior Project since 2007. Warriors don't have to be severely wounded to be with the Wounded Warrior Project. We do have a lot of guys that have post-traumatic stress disorder. being able to share your story, I guess it kind of helps you wrap your mind around what did happen over there. Just because you left the military doesn't mean your life is over. Because when these guys are coming home, I'm kind of leading and training them. Instead of for combat, I'm leading and training them to heal. If I come away with anything from Wounded Warrior Project, it's them giving my life back. My name is Norby, and yes, I do suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, but I'm okay.
Hi, welcome back to Straight Talk. We're talking about addiction being a family disease and that it doesn't discriminate. And we're talking with the Whiteley family, and we've heard from daughter Alex, who became addicted and is now in recovery. And now joining us is Corrine, her mom, and Tom, her dad. Welcome.
Thank you.
What would it feel like? What did it feel like while you were watching Alex talk about her story?
Well, it's easier now that we know she's in recovery, and we can see that she's happy now. And it's been a long time since she's been happy.
Make you feel good
Yeah.
this time?
Yeah.
I was very proud of her, but it was tough during those years. It was very tough.
Yeah.
It was tough on the family, big time.
Let's talk a little bit. As she was going through her story, going back to 12 or 13 years of age, what did you guys think was going on?
Well, we thought originally we were just addressing her ADHD for her grades. And then once she got to high school, the meds were not a cool thing to take because it changed her personality. And school's going to be too tough without those meds. And, you know, we could see that she was drinking a lot, but, you know, to distinguish an alcoholic, it's your child and they're in high school and they're abusing alcohol, but we don't know how far this is going to go.
So she was taking ADHD medicine early on?
She was, but once she got to high school, she
It didn't
wouldn't
work.
take it. But that was when she was at the public school.
Right, right.
So we, you know, as parents, we're like, maybe if you take the medicine, you'll make better decisions. You know, we had no idea, you know, what was related or what was not. Then we thought maybe it's just immaturity. She's just, you know, drinking a little too much, having a little too much fun. Maybe she'll just grow out of this. And then we started seeing more and more signs, like with getting thrown out of the second boarding school. It was kind of like a light went off, like I think she might have a problem. And then things just kind of spiraled downhill from there.
And she had a DWI.
Had the DWI, and if you've seen this car, I mean, there's no way a human could have survived this accident. So it was just.
How old were you when you had the DWI, that one?
The first one, I was 19.
So you were 19.
And that was after she got kicked out of the second boarding school. So it's just a lot of downtime. You know, she's home, she's drinking, she didn't have a job. She did get a GED.
And you say the car was so bad that she probably shouldn't have lived.
It was in a lake. She had to hold her breath for luckily she has a strong swimming background, but she held her breath for, I don't know, 3 minutes underwater.
Is it? Really?
Yeah, so.
That's amazing.
It's not a phone call you want.
we had a, you know, the biggest thing was just the cut that comes with the disease is the lying. You know, you talk to her, Alex, man, you're heading down the wrong path, and I know, Dad, I'm good, I'm not gonna drink. I mean, you wanna believe them as parents, you know, that's your child, you love them to death. And I would be like, okay, that's good, we had a great talk, I think we're straight now. You know, you don't know as a parent, and then it would still be going on, we wouldn't know. And then the second DWI, I think, was kind of what really broke her.
So you learned early on that addicts are really good at manipulating their parents.
Yeah. Well, you want to believe them.
Right, they tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
And you feel, okay, I really made a difference here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's, you know, laughing all the way to the bottle, saying, "Oh, pulled that one off."
Yeah, and I knew, you know, I didn't know like the extent of drinking. I'm like, they're out drinking beers like, you know, normal kids. But when the second DWI, I had to go to Ocean City to get the car because it was registered in my name. And when I saw that car that was impounded by the police and the alcohol that was in that car, it was sickening. you know, as a parent to see that, like just the bottles of alcohol, and just, it was, again, it kind of hit me pretty good, like this, we've got a serious problem here.
Did you notice anything early on that you look back now and say, wow, we should have, like grades dropping or friends, or, you know, or was it just teenage stuff?
We didn't know. We couldn't.
Couldn't tell the difference?
We couldn't tell the difference.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, it was, she had a lot of bottles in her bedroom, but she would convince us, oh, well, I'm holding it for everybody else. Yeah. It's from the weekend. I mean, you know, it's not like we would see her drinking during the day or she was hiding it. We didn't know.
And then part of the reason of sending her, getting her out of the public school and getting her into the boarding school was maybe we can pull her away from that. Maybe it's the friends she's hanging out with. You know, you're just always searching for answers. And
a geographical cure.
Yeah, and that
Never
obviously
works.
Right.
Never works. Because you were in public and private, and it was the same.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of parents say that. Well, I'm going to put them in a private school, but it seems to be the same everywhere.
It's everywhere.
You know, in a lot of those schools. So here you are. You're watching this progressively get worse as time goes on. What do you start doing? I mean, do you sit down, the two of you, and say, we have to do something?
Well, when she had her first DUI, where she totaled her car, I showed up at the hospital and she was handcuffed. Oh. And she was being arrested for something she had done when she had been drinking a month prior.
What did that feel like? Seeing your daughter in handcuffs?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, I'm like, that's not my Alex.
Like a wake-up call there.
So I think at some point we just, enough of, my older brother was you know, bad alcoholic for 30 some years, and he just recently been clean and sober too, finally, after so many years. But and I'd been dealing with him, you know, my whole life.
And she saw it too.
And she saw it, and then I was like, I can't go through this again, you know, with my daughter. So at some point, you know, after you know, we just kept giving and we kept enabling, and finally, you know, it was just, we said, we've had enough. Alex, you're not welcome here anymore.
Yeah. So how did you, as this is going on, are you feeling like, wow, they don't know what's going on? Did you think your parents were just naive?
I would also put the blame on them, but yes, in a way, but I blamed them. It's like, oh, this is because you sent me to boarding school. I told you from the start, don't send me there. I'm not going to fit in there. I don't belong in an all-girls boarding school. And then this is why this happened, because I couldn't go to college, because I got kicked out. It's all your fault. That's how it was for a long time. And
you blame them. Well, we're going to continue to talk, so hang in there. This is very important. I mean, you know, to have a family talk about this is important. So I thank you for doing that to begin with. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. So we're going to take a short break and come back. We're talking with the Whiteley family. We're hearing all about the daughter Alex's addiction, and then how the family pulled together to get her the help that she needs. So take a short break, and we're going to come right back to Straight Talk.
Who helps a hero? Who tells the story of their scars? The freedom and safety of so many, of us all, is earned by the sacrifices of so few. Who helps a hero? We all do. The Gary Sinise Foundation works to support America's defenders and strengthen their families through entertainment, the construction of smart homes for our wounded heroes, and by inspiring and educating others to also support the veterans within their own communities. We enjoy the benefits of their sacrifice and service each day. Now it's time we serve them. Find out how you can help our heroes at GarySiniseFoundation.org. While we can never do enough to show our gratitude to our nation's defenders, we can always do a little more.
Calls me googly eyes. You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. Our whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
Thanks.
Hi, welcome back to Straight Talk. We're talking about addiction being a family disease, about it doesn't discriminate. We've got a number up there for Amatus Health that's going to be popping up. If you need help, give them a call. There's a website, there's a hotline for you to call. And we're talking with the Whiteley family. We're trying to, talk about what they went through. Their daughter Alex started drinking at 12, 13 years old, ended up on cocaine and pot and all kinds of stuff. And what's amazing, family, you guys are like a great family. It's so nice to see where you guys are now, but also knowing what you've been through.
It was rough getting here.
Yeah, of what you've been through. It's an incredible process. And like you said, you're so grateful that she's alive. That's amazing, that everything that she's been through. When you knew that you needed to do something, what was your first instinct? Call for treatment, or as parents, what do you do?
Well, we said, Corinne and I would talk, and I'd say we need to send her we have to get her into rehab. She's got to go get help. And we would mention it to Alex, and it was the same old, I'm not going, I don't need that, Dad, it's not a problem, I get it under control, I've been really good lately, and same old thing, and we would want to believe her. And it got to finally the point where we just didn't know what to do, and just had enough. We just couldn't take it anymore. I mean, I couldn't sleep at night. You're waiting every minute for that phone to ring, to say she's in an accident or she's dead, or in jail. It was just horrible. So we took the kind of the hard line and said, we can't deal with it anymore. You're not welcome here. We love you, but you need help, and you're not willing to get it, so we can't deal with it anymore.
Now, when they did that, what did you think?
I told them, I remember I was in denial. I knew, but I was also in a way in denial. I remember talking with my dad, and this was I think before I was 21, and I still had a fake ID that I was using, and he said, give me the ID or give me the car keys, because you're going to end up in jail or dead. And I said, no, but if I ever end up in jail again, you can cut me off. You never have to talk to me again. And he was like, okay, you're going to get arrested again. I was like, nope, I won't. And sure enough, I ended up in another jail cell, and I didn't call him. I called my sister. But he still came to get me.
And then, when did you believe that they were serious?
I knew. Like, I had to go to treatment or I wasn't welcome there.
And that made a difference?
Not really.
Yeah.
Because I still didn't want it for me. It was always for them or for the judges and for the lawyer and for the probation officer. It was never for myself, so it wasn't going to work. Even if I wanted it a little bit, the willingness really wasn't there.
We talk a lot about people who go to treatment and they fail and they go back and they fail. And we know that's part of the disease of addiction and that people try. I mean, do you think that did you learn anything out of those experiences that maybe helped you get to the point where you were serious about getting help?
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely learned a lot in treatment. The H&Is that they bring in, the meetings that come in at night, I would see these people with these amazing stories that are successful now, And hear and I would relate. I would start identifying with these people. And my eyes were also open when I went into treatment for the first time, because I never got into opiates. I mean, I maybe like took a pill here and there, but it was never really my thing. It was always like party drugs and coke and alcohol. But I definitely think my eyes were open to the severity of the disease when I was in treatment for the first time, and I was able to admit to myself that I was an addict.
Because I think that's something people need to hear, that
We needed to hear it.
maybe you weren't ready to stop, but you learned a little bit, you know, and you went back to treatment again. And we see that a lot, people going in and out of treatment several times, and people say, well, it doesn't work. But it's happening a little bit at a time.
I think
but,
it plants the seed.
But it's hard for you guys, right? You're watching this saying, when's it going to stop?
I think the seed is planted when they go to that treatment.
Yeah.
And they, you know, I think then when they start to drink again, I think it's a guilt thing. And then I think it's finally just up to them on when they're going to do it, or they've had enough, or they hit rock bottom.
But you had to reach rock bottom too, right? You had to
Yeah.
say, that's enough, we can't do
Right.
this anymore.
Right.
And that's important.
Yeah.
And would you say that, would you give that advice to parents out there?
I'd say don't give up, but, you know, don't give in either. Like you have to, at some point, you can't enable like we did. I really think we enabled her for so long. And that did
We
not
kept
help.
fixing the problem every time she got in trouble.
We would, yeah, we
don't
would
know
get
what
the
else to
best
do.
lawyer, we would get her off, we would do this, and it was just really enabling her. But you do it out of love, you know, you look
Right.
back now and you say, man, that was dumb that we did that, but you don't know.
Right, you do it out of love.
You do it out of love.
Yeah. So now, everyone, how do you feel now?
Well, looking at her, I feel good. So,
Yeah.
But she did it on her own this time.
So you're
really
proud
did.
of her,
Very
Very
proud of her.
of
I
what she's
couldn't-
done.
Yeah,
And
I've
you
never
feel
been more proud of her.
proud of
I feel
yourself?
amazing, yes. I'm very proud of myself.
And you make sure you're not in bad situations, and you learn, and you're working programs and meeting with people. And working at
Absolutely.
Amatus, which is a treatment center, that helps.
I love it, yeah. The people there are great.
Yeah, that helps, that helps. So treatment does work.
It does.
Yeah.
It just takes a while to get there. Well, listen, I want to thank you guys. Telling your story is so important, and I wish you really the best, and hang in there, and just keep her feet to the fire. And it sounds like she's on the right road.
She is.
So
She is.
again, I thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Today on Straight Talk, we heard from the Whiteley family and learned, you know, what addiction can do to destroy a family and what recovery can do to bring that family back. So if you or anyone you know has a problem, call Amatus Health. We gave you their number. Give them a call. And I want to thank you for watching Straight Talk, and we'll see you next time.